Hi there, welcome into Primetime TV Show. I'm one of your hosts, Barbara Marville Kelly, and with me is my co-host, Dennis Kelly. Hey, Dennis Kelly, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing really great. Nice to have you back.
It's good to be back.
You had a couple weeks vacation?
Well, you could call it that.
You could call it that, yes. And we had some special guests on the show. Had a lot of fun while you were gone, but it's great to see you back because we are doing something that is very, very exciting, and we want to share it with all of you. What you're going to see in the next few weeks are a lot of things that we've actually been doing in our life experience to live a better quality life. And you know, when I was posting it on Primetime or on Facebook today, I was saying our Primetime TV show is about our prime time, your prime time, and how we choose to spend it. And in our last few years, we've had a few little challenges that not everyone knows about, but we have overcome many parts of these challenges, and we're going to really have some of those raw interviews as you go ahead and tune in to Primetime at 5 every Monday, and you're going to learn a lot from both of us because we've been doing our homework. A lot of us face many different challenges in life. We face many different triumphs, successes, and crises and all that. And the one thing that we have learned are two major factors that we must get a handle on. And I'm going to actually turn the show over to my husband, if you can believe that, and keep quiet. Believe it or not, for a little bit anyway.
That'd be possible.
Two things that are of epic importance to both of us and should be to each and every one of you. That is how to handle stress being the number one cause to dis-ease, and also in many times premature death. In addition to that, we live our life 100% of the time now after practice, living from our heart center point. And what we mean by that, my husband's going to share here in our show today. Some of you may have heard of it before, but some of you haven't. It's always good to review. So I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to be quiet for a little bit. It's your turn now.
We'll see how long that lasts.
Okay.
Well, you talked about two things. There's two other things that I try to live by and have helped me tremendously when I get in a situation where I start feeling this stress, besides some of the other things that I do. It's a philosophy, basically. Rule number one, don't sweat the small stuff. Rule number two, everything is small stuff. We're here today and gone tomorrow. It's not worth it. It's not worth to live life in a little way, which means succumbing, I'll get it out straight, succumbing to stress, and of course, that's easier said than done for most people. Mm-hmm. So what you have to do really is to become a stress master, so to speak, rather than stress mastering you. Because as you mentioned, a great deal of illness is caused by stress. Now, it used to be 75% of all illness and people ending up on the surgeon table would be stress related. Now it's up to about 90 to 95%. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Because the body, disease cannot live in a body that's in a healthy emotional state. Mm-hmm. And stress can take and reverse that state to a very unhealthy state. There's so many things that happen. You know, sometimes when I do some of my in some of my seminars, I mention, would you rather be chased by a lion or would you rather be late for work? You know, that may sound sort of like an oxymoron, but in some cases you might be better by being chased by the lion, because if you're chased by the lion, you get away, the stress is over and done right then and there. If you don't get away, well, it's too late anyway.
Exactly.
Right. But if you're late for work, then usually somebody gets on your case and it starts off the whole day, and that whole series of stress hormones go into the body all day long, where when the tiger or lion is chasing you and you are able to capture or get away from the lion or tiger, then the stress hormones subside and then the good hormones come back in. In fact, the hormones of conquest, the exciting hormones that I got away, that's called eustress. So it goes from negative stress to eustress, which is a good form of stress, the thrill of winning a competition or the thrill in getting to a point where we saved our life in a life-threatening situation.
Oh, absolutely.
So, to give you a little example, when I was surf casting in Fort Myers, Florida, in water up to my waist, I had bait bucket around my waist, and I had a stringer of trout, so I didn't have to keep going back and forth to shore. I was about 100 feet out from shore. And these young men in a boat came by, in a Coast Guard boat, and they said, "You better be careful, there's a wounded shark around here." Well, they were laughing when they said it, so I thought it was a big joke. Anyway, a couple of minutes later, it seemed like just a couple of minutes, and all of a sudden, in front of me, I see two big dorsal fins coming at me. And I turned around and looked real quick to where the shore was. That was my goal. And then I looked back at them, and they were much closer, and I was jabbing my rod, walking the water backwards. You know, they talked about somebody walked in water 2,000 years ago. I was running in water backwards. And I made it to shore, and obviously otherwise I wouldn't be here. And they just turned, and they looked about the size of a rowboat. And I thought I was so excited, you know, I thought to myself, wow, I'm really happy I made it, you know, to shore. I didn't get shark bait. And the thing is, I thought to myself, you know, it's weird. Why do I have to get chased by sharks to put all these good hormones in the body? The bad hormones came as I was running to shore to get me there quicker. But then once I got to shore, then the good hormones come in because I made a goal, a very important goal. I lived for another day. So that taught me something right then and there. Why would it be necessary for sharks to chase me and I survive, and then put in all these good hormones? So I decided each day I'll put the good hormones in without being chased by a shark.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. And how do you put good hormones in the body? Well, think from your heart. In other words, go back in time in your life when all the good things that you can think of happen, that make you feel good when you think about them, put them on a shelf. Or pictures of loved ones that you have in your mind, like I can get really very, very calm and collected and feel very good and put good hormones in the body when I think about my Yorkie dogs and see a picture of my little Yorkie dogs. I get good, wonderful hormonal changes. And the same thing would happen about a time in, say, my life or anyone's life, that when they think about it, makes them feel good. This is so important because then all day long, when a negative thing comes up, you don't dwell on the negative thing. You go back to your warehouse of good thoughts and you anchor those in your heart. You feel them. As a result, you're not affected by the negative or negator. You know, I call people who walk around zapping us with negative thoughts, I call them psychic vampires. They walk around with their umbilical cord ready to zap you. You know how they are. They profess to be your friend. Then anytime something nice happens, they're there to put a pin in your balloon. When you're down and out, they're right there. Oh, yeah. It seems like they get off on that type of thing and stealing someone's energy and creating turmoil in other people's lives so they can pretend to come and fix it.
Exactly. Wow, you said so much that I just want to touch on a little bit because it takes us back to the 2-hour workshop that you did a week ago Sunday at the Oneness Center here in Tarpon Springs. We had a fantastic turnout with Mary Lou Hulis's group and people outside of the center that came in to hear how to live an empowered, heart-based life, which is basically what you are just now talking about in living from the heart. And that's why I wanted to bring up those 2 points. If we can just master the understanding of stress and counteract it by living a heart-centered life. This is our main dedication to you and to people like you that want to live a better quality of life. Because you see us here in the show, and yes, we're very happy. We have a wonderful life. We've got beautiful health. But don't think for 1 minute that we haven't had our own challenges. And probably in the next couple of weeks, you're going to hear exactly what those are. And as a result of living a heart-empowered life is what brought the answers to us, having a solid foundation of faith, knowing what we've known over the years and making our decisions from the heart has helped us heal in a number of ways, both emotionally, physically, and spiritually, all rolled up in one. So we want you to tell your friends, like us on Facebook. We call the show Primetime TV Show because we are giving it our prime time. You know, when I used to work at the Home Shopping Network, they had certain shows in certain hours that were called prime time. That's when most of the viewers were there. But of course, knowing me, I like to step out of the box and I thought, wait a minute. I'm working from 3 to 6 in the morning. How much more prime time can I give? Seriously. I was working against my circadian rhythms. My husband was going to sleep at night all by himself, and I'm out doing my job, which I loved. I enjoyed every minute of it, but I was challenging my health at that time. And was I live a heart-empowered life at that time? You bet I was, or I couldn't have done that job and done it with vigor and with excitement. In the morning when I would come home, that's when I was kind of like walking around in a daze or a phase. But you know what? When you live a heart-centered life and you live with gratitude and you live from my favorite 4-letter word, love, it changes everything. And I'm not talking about love just when things are going great. I'm talking about really digging deep into that whole definition of love on a regular basis, even when things aren't going so great. So I'm glad that we're really setting the stage here because, you know, spring is just around the corner. It's Friday is the first day of spring.
Spring is springing.
Exactly. And it's the perfect time of the year where we like to think about rebirth. We think about renewal. We always have a new clan of birds and bird nests and new babies every February. And if I look back to a time in my life, I believe it was springtime when we became an item a number of years ago. It was in the month of February. Actually, it was on Valentine's Day.
Our first date was February 18th. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Our 4-hour date at Perkins.
Yeah. I hope I left a big enough tip.
But anyway, the point we're trying to share with you is there's so much that we want to talk about, things that can really change your life, really transform where you're going from here to the next point. And I just love what we're doing in our life experience right now. We know that we're on the right track and love sharing it. You had just such a great response from our people that came to your Living from the Heart workshop, and we're going to be doing more of those. We're going to be doing some things locally that we'll share with you, and on our website you'll be able to register and come on board and really do kind of like a hands-on training with us and really see, because we can only share so much on the air and in the show and everything, but why don't we talk about some of the things, and I know some of you that have been with us before, some of this may be redundant, but if you're like me, I have heard my husband speak, I can't tell you how many times on the same topic, and every time I'm able to glean something else from it or look at it from a new perspective. So I hope you'll appreciate that because we can talk about this same story about stress. There's never enough hours to talk about what stress can do to us, from turning on the news, getting up in the morning, the alarm clock going off and already making you cranky because you really don't want to get up and you have to hear that noise or the phone ringing and all these different things. So, you know, what would you say would be the biggest stressor in your life today?
The biggest stressor for most people, not necessarily in my life, but for most people basically is financial stress.
Okay.
You know, that's sort of like acid dripping in the system. Mm-hmm. And then there are several other stresses. Divorce, there's a great deal of stress in a divorce. Mm-hmm. Anytime you move in a different location, there's stressors. Death in the family, all those things need to be dealt with. And the thing is, 95% of people's problems that they feel are a problem, they never transpire. They never, in other words, they never give blossom to the problem. So 95% of what we worry about never really happens.
So we're over-worrying, we're overthinking. I've been guilty of doing the overthinking thing. Have you? Just sit there and thinking about it over and over, but I'm getting really a lot better at that, especially when I get the dad look from my husband. And he says, it's not worth it, hon. Just let it go. And you're right about that, because that is a high percentage that does not transpire, and you sit and worry about it for nothing.
Yeah, and one of the key things is growing, and especially with couples growing together. One of the biggest reasons people get divorced is one person grows, the other person doesn't.
Yes.
And it's that growing together. Ray Kroc the founder of McDonald's had quite a saying. He says, when you're green, you grow. When you're ripe, you rot. And it's true. If you're not growing, you're going, and you're not going in the right direction, obviously. People think they can stay just where they are. And one thing that's for certain, there's going to be change. The key thing is that change controlled by somebody else, or is that change controlled by yourself? I've many times related to like being a director of a movie, of your own movie, and you can be a character in the movie, and you can also be the director. The key is not to just become the character in the movie and let somebody else be the director. So formulate your movie the way you want it to be. At night, before you go to sleep, look back at what happened in your life that day, and whatever happened, make the changes mentally. If you said the wrong thing to somebody, see yourself saying the right thing. These are things that will help reduce stress tremendously and help build relationships. And when you see yourself as doing it the right way, then when that same situation happens, and it usually does, and you can count on it, then the important thing is you'll say it or react or respond in the right way. I should say respond, because reacting is the wrong way. Responding is an intelligent way of responding to that information or that feeling that that person gave you. So that's one of the key things that I do when I go back through my day backwards. Then I look at and say, I should have made this decision, not the decision I made, and then see myself making the right decision. And that is a matter of growing too. Then eventually made a lot of right decisions, even though the subconscious mind is making the decisions more than the conscious mind. So that's another one of the little tools in the chest that I use, and I recommend people in my seminars use, because they work so well with me and people that I know and people that I've shared that with over the period of the years.
Well, don't you feel that a person, I guess, should be at that point of readiness in order to be open for making change for themselves, to improve their own personal growth and development so that they can communicate with others, so that you can build a better relationship with your spouse or your significant other or your parents, your children?
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing, a great book written by Anna Weiss was The High Performance Mind. In her book, she said something quite profound. She was a PhD that had a lot of research on relationships and development of the mind. She said a high-performance mind is one that at will can reach that state of consciousness that is most beneficial and desirable for any given moment. In other words, being able to call upon the right emotion to fit any situation. And that takes practice. But once you do that, you reach a state of imperturbability, which a fancy word like that doesn't really give it the true meaning. The true meaning is that no matter what happens, you have the right emotion to meet that situation. So nothing then, in essence, stresses you. Even bad things that happen, there's no such a thing as bad as long as you can learn from it. If you don't learn from it, it's bad. Then you go on and make the same mistake twice, 3, 4 times. That's stress. And even little simple things, jumping around, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but the other thing, one stressor is time. So many people, they don't allow enough time to get ready to go to a certain event or place. Always, and I learned this from my stepfather, he sort of beat it in my head psychologically, that always arrive early, and it's better to hurry up and then wait rather than to get stressed out. When I go to take a flight somewhere, I get to the airport 3 or 4 hours early, because then I can sit and watch people and relax and do my deep breathing and plan my days or wherever I'm going, what I'm going to do when I get there. But if you rush to the airport, the thing is you're in a low vibration factor, and that's when accidents are caused, more so than ever. That's when the chances of having a unhappy event, because those stress hormones, if you don't start thinking of some good things and replace them with good hormones, can stay in the body for hours. Just like one angry thought we talk about so much. One angry thought that happened 10, 15 years ago can lower the immune system for 6 to 8 hours. All day long. One angry thought held for 5 minutes or more will reduce your good hormones down to nothing and flood the body with cortisol, which I call the death hormone. You need cortisol for little mundane things, but not flowing in your body constantly.
You know, that is one thing that I don't mind repeating if we say this at every single show, because if we can affect one person's life in every show and they really take this to heart, is that 5 minutes of an angry thought or whatever it is that is stressing you out, if you realize that it dumps all those 7-8 hours of bad chemicals in the body, wouldn't that fact alone be reason enough to change the way you're thinking and the way you're allowing yourself to be stressed out and do something about it?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the easiest things to do is take 10 deep breaths. Don't just count to 10. That doesn't usually work. Just take in 10 deep breaths. Inhale to the count of 5, exhale to the count of 7, and do that slowly. And say to yourself, as you inhale, I am, as you exhale, relax. Just a little simple thing like that can make a major difference. Or there are some other things that are a little bit more dramatic. When somebody stresses you out, or when there's a stressful situation, remember now, after 5 minutes, you're putting all these bad hormones in the body that take hours to get rid of. The key thing is to not go past 2 minutes. In other words, if you can stay from going past 2 minutes with an angry, stressful, worry thought, your whole life will change dramatically. There's a little game that I talk about in my seminars. In fact, I did it one of the times I was on here a couple months ago. I recommend wearing a rubber band on your wrist. And every time you get into worry, anytime you get angry, you got 2 minutes to replace it with a caring, loving thought. So what happens when you get angry or worry or whatever, you snap the rubber band whenever you can, and that little sting will go from the right brain to the left brain. In other words, it'll switch, and then you got a chance to make some logical decisions. And going to the heart, once you realize it's a stressful situation, go to the heart and call upon those caring, loving thoughts, that group of wonderful thoughts that make you feel good that you put on the shelf. So bring one of those thoughts into the heart, and no matter what happens to you, you'll not be exposed to those bad chemicals. After 2 minutes, they'll be just dissipating because you didn't go past that 2 minute part. And to me, that little game even is exemplified when you take and have a game out of it. You got 7 days to not go past 2 minutes. In other words, snap the rubber band and then try to feel a good feeling that, in other words, don't go past 2 minutes for 7 days. And if you go past 2 minutes in the 7 days, say on the 4th day, you really go past 2 minutes, then you got to start all over from day one. The important thing is to go 7 days without going past 2 minutes. Then your life will never be the same. For the first time in your life, you've had complete control of yourself, and you never will need the rubber band again.
It works.
It works. Well, the first time I did it, I got the 4 days, and then I had to go back on and start all over again because I went past the 2 minutes. And it really upset me that I didn't have that good a control. It's not easy to do, believe me. So you have to, even if you have to go back 4 or 5 times, trust me when I tell you, do this and it will change your life in many different ways. Give you complete control of your emotions over a period of time.
That's pretty profound, having complete control, and it really does work. Have a question for you. What about people that get really mad, that get really angry, and I mean go off the wall, screaming and yelling? Is it okay for them to do that for 2 minutes?
Well, yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
So they get that out of the system?
It would be better than bottling it up inside.
Okay.
However, when you get angry and scream, then you usually create a situation with the person you're screaming at or that you're angry at. But if you're just angry or screaming about something where, in other words, it's not another person involved, it's a situation or thing, it's a lot easier to replace it with a caring, loving thought.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and it's better to let it out, but it's not good over the period of time because that you can only do that so much without taking some negative effect. The key is to release it. Releasing is like there's a dove on a fence post and you want a hawk there, you replace the dove with a hawk, rather than try to imagine that dove is going without replacing it with a hawk. You can't replace a negative thought unless you overcome it with a positive thought.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Absolutely. And we're wired up for negativity for survival purposes. We're not genetically engineered the way we're wired to handle the modern day type of stress. So we have to rewire our system.
And it's not that easy to do, but it can be done. We're going to take a brief little time out now, I believe, and when we come back, we have more to share with you. So hopefully you're enjoying this first segment. We'll be right back after this.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
This is one bee that loves going to the dentist because it's made for you and me.
My name is Dr. Becerra from New Tampa Pediatric Dental, providing a comfortable atmosphere in early dental care. Gives kids a great start for healthy teeth and gums for life.
When I go to Dr. B, they don't do anything to hurt you.
I used to be afraid, but I'm not now. I'm not afraid of the dentist anymore. I love to see Dr. B.
Call New Tampa Pediatric Dental today.
Hi, I'm Derek Brooks, former linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. During my NFL career, I realized the importance of giving back and started my foundation, Derek Brooks Charities. We help Tampa Bay youth prepare for a successful life through our college prep and mentoring programs. Our goal is to see youth excel academically and develop strong characters and be better citizens for tomorrow. To further our mission, we've teamed up with Fun Night, a company that gives members access to thousands of nationwide discounts on products and services they buy every day. These include entertainment, retail purchases, dining, and travel. Best of all, 33% of every membership fee goes to the charity of your choice. We love being able to save our supporters money while giving them a unique opportunity to support our charitable work in the community. I invite you to consider using Fun Night to save money and give back to your favorite cause. Visit www.funnight.us to sign up now and get a free 30-day trial. Save money, help others with Fun Night, and support Derek Brooks Charities.
This is one bee that loves going to the dentist because it's made for you and me.
My name is Dr. Becerra from New Tampa Pediatric Dental, providing a comfortable atmosphere in early dental care. Gives kids a great start for healthy teeth and gums for life.
When I go to Dr. B, they don't do anything to hurt you.
I used to be afraid, but I'm not now. I'm not afraid of the dentist anymore. I love to see Dr. B.
Call New Tampa Pediatric Dental today. This is one bee that loves going to the dentist because it's made for you and me.
The environment here is really kid-friendly, family-friendly. The parents are welcome to watch.
It's definitely been a different atmosphere since Dr. Becerra has come on. It's very inviting and welcoming, and the children just enjoy coming here all around.
My middle son did not like to come to the dentist, but now he loves to come to the Beehive.
You don't have to be afraid to go to the dentist.
Call New Tampa Pediatric Dental today.
Everyone's story is different, so why be limited to just one or two options? With Norcom's Norflex Home Loan, you're given the flexibility to tell your story. Pick your terms from 8 to 30 years, all while maintaining a low, fixed mortgage rate. You can pay off your loan more quickly or choose a term based on your budget and timeline. Whatever you do with the Norflex Home Loan, make it part of your financial plan. Norflex, short-term, long-term, your terms. Apply online at norcommortgage.com.
And we're back here on Primetime TV Show. I'm Barbara Marville Kelly, and with me is my co-host, Mr. Dennis Kelly. It's great to have you with me again.
It's always good being here, especially with you.
We were just talking about some of the things about stress and living a heart-centered life and how we can help you because it's helped us, it's helped our family, it's helped our friends and people that we really hang out with on a regular basis, and we want to hang out with you and really share a lot over the upcoming months, especially now being almost springtime, where it's a time of renewal, it's a time of rebirth. People are, looking for ways to improve their life, and of course we want to do that as well. No matter how long you live or no matter what kind of lifestyle you have, it's never too late to make improvements in your lifestyle. And one of the things that we've also learned, being that our first two topics in our first segment was about handling stress and the epic importance of it, along with the epic importance of living a heart-centered life. In this segment, we want to also talk about how sometimes the way you react rather than respond to stress isn't necessarily what you think it might be. It might be as a result of something happening inside your own body. It might be something that is causing you to react rather than respond. And over the next few weeks and months, you're going to be hearing how living a heart-centered life can lead you to make the right decisions on really attracting the right people, the right situations, the right products, the right everything to come into your life so that you can handle stress and you can live a better quality of life. One of the things that we have recently learned and are about ready to really go public with it is what we're doing nowadays on the inside of our bodies to help our bodies really pretty much anti-glycate, or however you want to call it, clean out the cells, clean out the inside of the body so that we can think better, respond rather than react to stress, and again, as a result of living a heart-centered life.
Well, it's true. There are really three forms of stress as far as how they affect us. There's mental stress, there's physical stress, and there's emotional or spiritual stress. And the key thing is to try to determine upon which one it is. Because, for example, physical stress is like a silent killer in a sense. Because you actually, the body gets used to feeling bad. In other words, it becomes a normal. And that can really lead to a lot of negative things. Because if you look at health from a cellular level, in other words, if you really get into the physical part as far as realizing if we have healthy cells, are happy cells, and when the cells are healthy and happy, then we feel healthier and happy. And it affects us mentally. I know anytime, and anybody can attest to this, whenever you're sick, it's harder to be happy when you're not feeling good.
True.
When the body is in physical distress, then it's hard to really get to that peak of what we can do as far as being happy and being enthusiastic, being friendly. All those things are more difficult. They can be done. I know when I don't feel good, it doesn't change my personality, but I have to work at it more. I have to really work harder, and sometimes it's not as much fun as it should be, because then you're using a lot of energy that you wouldn't really need to use, and we get tired quicker too. So as a result, whatever job we're doing and whatever goal we're trying to reach, we can't perform as well. So really getting the body, taking care of the body from a cellular level, it's like we have little batteries in the cell. And those batteries are run down, then the cell can't release its toxins, it can't release the different hormones that are healthy for us. And it really is like a cascade of events. When you're unhealthy physically, then it really affects your mind mentally, and that affects your emotions. So it's like the trilogy. When you work, it's like when you're working in all three of these things, like like when you're juggling, you keep your eye on the ball in the air.
I get that. I totally get that. You just gave me a way to sort of explain where else we're kind of going with this in living this heart-centered life experience. And when you get into that habit of living from your heart center point and letting your heart always make the decisions for you, it becomes really, life becomes more a piece of cake than not. And one of the things that I just wanted to share as to where we are going with is helping us from the inside out, because if we're in pain, if we're depressed, the big D word, there's so much of that today, and I see it running rampant. And don't think for a minute that I haven't had my moments of a mini meltdown here or there, but I know how to pick myself back up. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than others, not past 2 minutes anymore. That I'll say. I'm not wearing any rubber bands today, even though my husband is for demonstration purposes. But here's what we have concluded is once we've gone to the heart and we've decided, okay, heart, you need to help me, give me the answers that I need for my own body so that I can share this with the world, basically, because our world needs a whole lot of help in healing. What we need today are many miracles in order to have peace, tranquility, love, happiness, all the things that we're meant to have. I mean, we come into this life ready to love. We come into this life perfect. We're born into this greatness, this miracle that God brought us into. And it's just so amazing that we don't take better care of ourselves. We don't work out like we should. I'm guilty of that. Trust me, I think because I'm out on the dance floor, I'm getting all the exercise I need. And believe me, I get exercise. But it's not like my husband. I will say, he gives a stellar performance at walking his walk when it comes to going to the gym. I really commend him for that, especially nowadays. And you'll hear more and more about that. But what I've concluded, what you've concluded, is when we set our bodies up, give our bodies the permission to become the miracle that we were born with, all kinds of things happen to us. And we're experiencing some of those miracles that we're going to be sharing with you over time, over months, and give you some additional tools that can help you as well set your body up for the miracle. So we have just maybe about 5 or 6 minutes left. Before we leave our show today. We have a little abbreviated show today, but I think that with the substance that we're able to share with you, there's a lot here for you to think about, and you can always get a hold of us as well if you have any questions. But tune in from now on, because from every single show, I promise you're going to be able to leave with really feeling like you can glean something from each show. Maybe you've heard the same thing over and over, but you're going to pull something different from it. And you might be more ready to commit to what we're talking about. So kind of wrapping it up with, do you agree with that, setting our bodies up as a miracle? Do you think your body is becoming a miracle?
Well, it definitely is. The body is the best pharmaceutical factory in the world. In fact, did you know, for every disease there's a country where that disease does not exist. Realizing the body, when the body is healthy, it can overcome any illness. It can prevent any cancer, any illness of any kind. But the key thing is keeping it healthy mentally, physically, and emotionally. Because disease cannot live in a body that's in a healthy emotional state. When you take supplements, it's not the supplements that actually help you heal the body through the right supplements. It's what the supplements do to stimulate the body to produce whatever hormones and chemicals it needs to overcome that illness. That's what a lot of people don't realize. And that's why naturopathic ways of being healthy are so much better than the pharmaceutical ways of being healthy, because of the fact that there's always, in every drug, there is a counter reaction that isn't healthy.
That's right. That is so right. And even though we're not suggesting that we don't go to an MD, because I still go, he still goes. In fact, he's under supervision with our MD, who is really pretty much taking a look at some integrative ideas that we are kind of feeding him. We're working with other holistic natural practitioners as well to help us, and we just know that we feel we can share this with you from our heart, and share with you that when you live that heart-centered life, the answers will come. Because wouldn't you say the average person, I mean, we're not trained in the pharmaceutical industry. We're not trained in holistic, unless, of course, we've gone to holistic schooling and all of that, or we've gone to medical school. We're average people. We're simple average people that have tried and true methods that have worked for us Some haven't worked for us. And if you know us and have known us for all these years, you know that we do not talk about anything or recommend anything unless we have actually tried something. And, you know, with HeartMath Institute, ever since you were certified and really brought out all the science behind what happens when you do live a heart-centered life, this is our main platform because it opens up all the doors and really gives us all the keys to the answers of so many questions that we have in life. I mean, relationships and finding the right relationships. We have a seminar that we're going to be doing called Singles and Singles Again. How to find a 10, how to keep a 10, how to be a 10, right?
That's right. If you're looking for a 10, then how can you possibly keep a 10 if you're not a 10? I tell everybody when we do a single seminar, I said, before you start looking for that Mr. Right or Miss Right or Mr. Wrong, the thing is work on yourself. Go to work on yourself, on the way you look, the way you feel, and educating yourself on how to be positive and how to do the things we're talking about to be what I call a good catch, so to speak. Because when I do the seminars, I ask people to raise their hand. How many would you like to find a 10? Now, 10 doesn't mean all in looks like the Bo Derek 10. 10 has a lot of different qualities, 10 different things like integrity, sense of humor, grooming, and things like that. Financial stability, that's all part of the 10. So the key thing is to go to work on yourself. That way, when you do find a 10, it's a lot easier to attract the 10, and it's a lot easier to keep the 10. And then, of course, finding somebody that's of the like mind, like we mentioned, we can grow together. Never look for somebody, never ever look for somebody, if you're single, to make you happy. Nobody can make you happy. That's what we call codependency. The key thing is to be happy in spite of things rather than because of things. Then you'll make a good mate.
A lot of truth to that. Absolutely a lot of truth. And you know, it's funny, before my husband and I became an item a number of years ago, back in 1996, we were kind of working on those things and didn't know each other. We were going down that same path, just kind of separately, until we hooked up. So we had already done some homework on ourselves, but you know what? It didn't stop there. We're still always looking for more ways to communicate and just keep increasing what we've already done that's been successful, and to just simply share that with you. This is our mission. This is our platform. That's another reason why we absolutely love and appreciate Primetime TV show right here in Tarpon Springs with Tampa Bay Multimedia. We go through WeBeam TV. There's a lot of other shows that are coming through this studio, and we really embrace what we do, and we're in total gratitude for this, and that's the key, is gratitude.
Absolutely. That's an easy emotion to get. If you think about it, I cried because I didn't have any shoes until I saw a man without any feet. I always use that one with myself when I start maybe feeling sorry for myself a little bit, which is just a little bit.
I was going to say, you feel sorry for yourself? Do you feel sorry for yourself sometimes?
No, but just when I start going towards that direction.
Just sort of kind of
when
maybe?
I start leaning towards that and I start feeling a little bit of that feeling coming on, I just nip it in the bud right away.
I know.
I don't allow myself to dwell on it. I don't go past a minute on that one.
Yeah, me too. It's easy to come to gratitude. And so on that note, we're going to leave you with that one special word that will change your life when you can get into gratitude. And it is pretty easy to do no matter what is going on in your life. That's what's helped me. That's what's helped my husband. That's what's helped us both.
Attitude of gratitude.
Absolutely. And it helps us grow together as well. Tune in next week because we're going to take this show into a little bit deeper level, share some more things for you. And you never know when we have that raw interview between my husband and myself to share some of the challenges that we're overcoming. So thanks for being with us today on Primetime TV Show. God bless each and every one of you, and hope to see you next Monday. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week.